5:00 a.m. on September 6, 2025, 10 Ukrainian drones were 57 seconds from striking the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. It was a target so sensitive, so dangerously off-limits that the Russians guarding it had grown complacent, believing no one would ever dare. They were about to be proven catastrophically wrong. This wasn't a salvo of cruise missiles. It was a swarm of KH-7 drones, each weighing just 1.5 pounds and costing a laughably low $400. Through the laid drone's camera, the objective is already in view, the ZNPP's Training and Simulation Center. A small icon on the operator's screen blinked with clinical precision distance to active reactor core 984 feet. And let's be crystal clear about the target. Ukraine isn't trying to start a meltdown. This is infinitely smarter. They're aiming for the plant's brain, the $50 million simulation center where Russian engineers learn how not to cause a second Chernobyl. Destroying it cripples Russia's ability to operate their biggest strategic asset. It's a high-risk, high-reward move. If you were the mission planner, would you have approved this target, or would you have considered it too dangerous? 9 miles away in a secret bunker near Orikhiv, a Ukrainian technician guides the swarm with a beat-up laptop. His signal, a 5.8 gigahertz frequency-hopping broadcast, is a ghost in the machine, changing 1,000 times a second to evade Russia's electronic warfare. On his tactical map, the ZNPP is a fortress. The massive red bubble of a Krasuka 4 system blankets 186 miles around him. The S-400's gravestone radar is actively sweeping the sky. On paper, this place is impenetrable. This 3-month symphony of violence planned by the 47th Drone Brigade began not in the sky, but in the murky depths of the Dnipro River. Its purpose was to solve one simple, deadly problem. How do you get 10 tiny drones past a billion-dollar fortress? The answer: you don't fly over the wall, you swim under it. The operation began at 04:30 a.m. Under the cover of a thick morning fog, the Marichka AUV slipped silently from a civilian fishing boat and vanished beneath the surface. For the next 30 minutes, it was a crocodile in a muddy river at midnight, completely invisible. At 04:55 a.m., the loud part of the plan kicked off. 2 modified Neptune missiles roared to life near Zaporizhzhia. Their target wasn't the plant, but a BM-30 Smerch multiple rocket launcher positioned nearby. To a civilian, that's just a big truck with rockets. To these drones, it's a giant shotgun that can fill the air with shrapnel, shredding the entire swarm. So before the main event even started, Ukraine took that shotgun off the table. While the Russian ground forces were scrambling to figure out why their rocket launcher had just vanished, the second part of the plan unfolded. In Russian-occupied Enerhodar, a 5-man Ukrainian Special Operations Team ghosts who had been living among the enemy for weeks made their move. Their job was to deal with the crude but effective anti-drone nets ringing the facility. Using a handheld jammer, they created a small silent gap. They were the lockpickers in a high-tech bank heist. Only then did the star of the show make its entrance. At 05:00 a.m., the Marichka AUV surfaced silently in a pre-scouted patch of reeds just 3.1 miles from the plant. A waterproof hatch hissed open and 10 KH-7 drones, each armed with a 3.3-pound shaped charge warhead, rose into the air. 8 of them immediately dropped to 130 feet, disappearing into the ground clutter. But 2 of them, loaded with dummy warheads, did the exact opposite. They climbed to 500 feet, making themselves the most obvious targets in the sky. It's a classic boxer's feint: make your opponent watch the jab so they never see the right hook coming. The trap was set. The outer layer is the S-400 Triumph, a $200 million system that can track 300 targets. Its operator, seeing 2 blips appear on his screen, did his job perfectly. But here's its dirty little secret: it was designed to shoot down bombers. Asking it to target a 1.5-pound drone is like using a sledgehammer to crack a walnut. It's overkill for the job. The next layer is pure electronic brute force, the Krasuka 4. This truck-mounted system blankets 186 miles in every direction with jamming noise. But the KH-7 drones are using a frequency-hopping signal that changes 1,000 times a second. Then you have the eyes in the sky, the Orlan 10 surveillance drones circling endlessly. Their infrared cameras are great at spotting tanks, but at 04:30 a.m. they saw nothing but cold river water, completely missing the silent passage of the Marichka below. At 05:01, as the S-400 operator is tracking the 2 decoy drones, the real reason this entire attack works is humming away inside the 7 remaining attackers. The heart of the KHS-7 is a 90nm NVIDIA Jetson Nano AI chip, the kind of thing you'd find in a high school robotics project. And it gives the drone two critical advantages. First, it runs the frequency hopping algorithm. While the Krasuka 4 is flooding the area with a massive brute force wall of jamming noise, the Jetson Nano is telling the drone's radio to jump to a new frequency 1,000 times every second. Second, it provides optical navigation. The Krasuka has successfully jammed all GPS signals, but the drone doesn't care. Its camera is constantly comparing the terrain below to a satellite map stored in its tiny memory. It's not listening for directions from space, it's reading the road signs. It has eyes.
The night was quiet, eerily quiet, over southern Russia. A cool breeze rippled across the vast landscape of Rostov Oblast, where Russia's $5.7 billion nuclear power plant stood as one of the crown jewels of Moscow's energy infrastructure. The massive reactors, cooling towers, and sprawling control complexes not only powered millions of homes but also symbolized Russia's technological prestige. For the Kremlin, this was more than just a power plant. It was a statement to the world that Russia remained strong, modern, and untouchable. But at 2:37 a.m., that illusion of invulnerability shattered. High above the darkness, almost invisible to the naked eye, a swarm of Ukrainian long-range strike drones slipped past layers of Russian air defenses. They had been launched from multiple points, some even from deep within Ukrainian-held territory, and they carried a mission that would send shockwaves across the globe, a direct strike on Russia's nuclear heart. For months, Kiev had warned that Moscow's relentless bombing campaigns against Ukrainian infrastructure, power stations, water plants, dams, would not go unanswered. Ukrainian leaders declared openly, if Russia continues to target our energy, we will target theirs. And this time, Ukraine was not bluffing. The drones moved like ghosts. Some flew low across rivers and forests, others navigated higher altitudes using advanced AI-driven navigation systems. Each was packed with explosives powerful enough to breach key facilities. On their screens back in Kiev, Ukrainian operators watched as the blips moved closer and closer to their target. At 2:51 a.m., the first explosion ripped through the silence. A drone slammed into an auxiliary building near the plant's electrical distribution station, sending sparks and flames shooting into the night sky. A second drone followed seconds later, striking a cooling pump system. Local residents miles away described hearing a massive thunderclap that rattled windows and set off car alarms. The Russian emergency systems scrambled instantly. Sirens wailed. Security forces rushed to contain the situation. But the nightmare wasn't over. Within minutes, 3 more drones evaded interception and smashed into different parts